Good morning, everyone. It's Jill Loving, licensed Unity teacher, previously spiritual leader at Unity of Merced, and now supporting Unity of Modesto. Hope you've all had a safe week. We have an opening prayer. When sorrow comes, let us accept it simply as part of life. Let the heart be open to pain. Let it be stretched by it. All the evidence we have says that this is the better way. An open heart never grows bitter, or if it does, it cannot remain so. In the desolate hour, there's an outcry, a clenching of the hands upon emptiness, a burning pain of bereavement, a weary ache of loss. But anguish, like ecstasy, is not forever. There comes a gentleness, a returning quietness, a restoring stillness. This, too, is a door to life. Here also is a deepening of meaning, and it can lead to dedication, a going forward to the triumph of the soul, the conquering of the wilderness. And in the process will come a deepening inward knowledge that in the final reckoning, all is well. Thank you, Powell Davis. Well, it's birthday Sunday, so we need to say happy birthday to all of those of you who were born in May. So happy birthday, everybody. We're not going to sing for you. You can sing to yourselves. And I'd like to share that it's my 12th wedding anniversary to my lovely Jim. Yay! We've made it 12 years. Daily word today. World peace. I contribute to peace in the world. When I learn of conflict in my community or in the world, my response may be frustration, sadness, or anger. If I have those feelings, I remember that I am more than merely human. I'm a living expression of God, heir to all that God is. I use my divine faculties of wisdom, understanding, and love to create the abiding peace that is my birthright. Centered in divine peace, I realize that every person is as much an expression of God as I am. As differences dissolve in a way that transcends human understanding, I come to know oneness with all the world's people. I let this realization shape my response to every person and every situation. In an awareness of my oneness with all people, my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to the peace of the world. John 17:22. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one, as we are one. So let's get ready for a time of meditation. Remember that every moment begins with a breath, an inflow of vitality that is a beginning point for the next divine idea. Breathing in, we begin to know the truth of all sufficiency, our very source and inner resource, God. We begin this period of prayer and meditation by breathing in. And as you breathe in, let go of any worries that may be on your mind. You don't need them for the next moment or two. Centered in God, I am secure and peaceful. As I shift my focus from outer activity to God, my source and inner resource, I realize that God is peace. All cares and concerns diminish in the presence of peace. God is peace in my quiet mind and my compassionate heart. So in the silence, we realize peace. Within the silence of prayer, I gain a clear sense of direction. Anytime I need greater clarity or wisdom, I turn within. Centered in the silence of prayer, I open my mind to see more clearly the possibilities ahead. I open my heart to feel my way forward. Relying upon the spirit of wisdom, I know what is mine to do in the silence. By the power of divine life, I thrive. The light of divine light shines within the cells of my body and in every crevice of my awareness. The promised fullness of life is mine as I bask in the light of wholeness, vitality, strength, and well-being. God is the light of life that I realize in the silence. Now bring yourself back to this time and this place. A little wriggle. And don't just sit there and worry. Do something. I thought you'd like a cruise ship story, as I read on the internet that the last cruise ship had finally made it back to port. Although Jim said he heard that there were still boats out there, but he doesn't always hear everything quite correctly, so we won't worry. This is for all the people who may or may not be stuck on cruise ships. There was a gentleman aboard a cruise ship and he was not having a good time. He was there to try and save his marriage, and it was failing because the man was so plagued with worries. He couldn't have a good time and enjoy his wife and his children because worrying was the main activity of his day. Finally, his family was thoroughly exasperated, and he'd said, well, I'm going on this cruise with you and I'm going to try to change. But it had become such a habit that moment by moment he still continued to worry. We always take ourselves wherever we go. At that point, he realized how serious it had become. He talked to one of the ministers on board and said, can you help me? Is there anything I can do to rid myself of these worries? And the minister and the man walked to the back of the ship. And as they stood there and looked down at the water, they could see the huge wake the propeller was making in the water. And the minister said, every night before you go to bed for the next 7 days of the cruise, I want you to walk here to the back of the ship and mentally throw off every concern in your life and watch those concerns being churned up by the propeller and drowned in the wake. Well, the man thought that was a ridiculous thing to do, but he was desperate. So every night of the 7-day cruise, out to the back of the ship he went, and he dumped out every worry that he had. The first night he was there for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I mean, we have a serious worrier here. But he was surprised. The next day he felt better. He felt relieved. By the end of the cruise, he felt like a new man. He felt like something spiritually special was happening inside of him. So many times we let the joy of life slip away because we fret, worry, and fume over things. Most of the time we do this more out of habit than what is actually happening in our lives at any moment. Here's a description of fretting and fuming. The word fume means to boil up, blow off, emit vapor, be agitated, be distraught, and to seethe. Ring any bells? The word fret is equally descriptive. It's like a half whine or a half cry. We continue doing this and we do it to those we love the most. In Psalm 37 verse 1 it says, do not fret. We half cry and half whine about what is ahead of us. The problem is this sets up a mental condition for the whole day. We have to take responsibility to stop this once and for all and allow the all power of God to come through us. So we've done fret and fume. What about worry? Worry is to feel or cause to feel anxious or troubled about actual or potential problems. And should you be interested, it's from the Old English worgen, meaning strangle. In Middle English, the original sense of the verb came rise to the meaning to seize by the throat and tear, which speaks of more violent times, don't you think? Worry is just thinking about a situation and imagining what might or might not happen. It was very likely the kind of behaviour that put us one step ahead in the survival stakes. See if you can think about a situation and imagine different outcomes, and that gives you a choice of actions instead of reactions. Worry adds another dimension, the emotion of anxiety, the energy of the negative what if. And it gets cyclical. You get into a rut thinking because there isn't, or you don't know what the outcome is going to be, or you can see all the outcomes and none of them are good, or you've made a risky decision and you're not sure the gamble will pay off. So, what might we worry about? Well, we have been through and are in for some interesting times, don't you think? Nothing much will be as it was, even before, when we get the vaccine. Some enterprises will never recover and new ones will spring up, meeting new needs. I suspect restrictions will be lifted gradually, and I also suspect that many of us, like me and Jim, will remain as isolated as we can until there is an effective vaccine. And there will be plenty to worry about should we choose. The economy at large, unemployment, the food supply, the election outcome, never mind climate change. What will happen to our income tax? What will happen to our insurance premiums for health? All this extra support is going to cost one way or another. There will be upsides and there will be downsides. We should have a renewed respect and appreciation for all our health workers and those taking charge of the dead, ensuring that they are interred with respect and dignity. But there will be ramifications for their physical and mental health in the future. There's a lot to be concerned about, that's for sure, but do we need to turn that concern into worry? But just a minute, what's wrong with worrying? Well, in a word, it makes you sick. Take it from one who knows. Getting your head into that worry loop stops you sleeping. You need to sleep. Your brain needs to rest from all the thinking, and especially from the worry. But if you give it unanswerable puzzles, it will go round in circles and go over and over the same ground until you're so tired you can't sleep. Been there? I haven't, not in a while. Worry makes your muscles tense and you hold yourself tightly. It whacks your blood pressure up. It stops your tummy working properly, so you get ulcers. And that's just the physical side of worry. It's not good for your mental health either. Depression, as the ad says, hurts everyone. Need another good reason not to worry? It's a bit of a shocker. Are you sure you're ready? Well, you could be dead tomorrow. Now, that's not being morbid or even pessimistic, and the longer you live, the more likely it is to be true. But we know not the hour. Let's see what Jesus advised about worry. He was very clear. Luke 10. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you're worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Now, me personally, I would have strangled Jesus right there and then. I'm definitely a Mary. Which one is it? The Martha. I'd have been in there getting cross with my sister too. Luke 12:22-34. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than birds? Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this little thing, why do you worry about the rest?" Consider how the flowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, ye of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things. And your Father knows that you need him. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So are you ready to do something other than worry? You know, I think worry is a lot like my idea of prayer, but not nearly as helpful. Prayer is thought with emotion and energy added. And well, worry is exactly the same thing, but the energy is in the wrong direction, which should give us all hope. If you can worry, you can pray. Do we have some champion worriers out there? I'm sure. Now there's a thought. You could all be champion prayers instead. Let's see what Jesus has to say about prayer. Luke 11. One of his disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray, just as John taught his disciples. And he said to them, when you pray, say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done, on this earth as in heaven. Give us each day our daily bread. Forgive us our debt, as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, and deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. This is now considered a prayer, but actually it's an instruction. It's how to pray. I like Emmett Fox's version, and these are very briefly. Our Father, who art in heaven. That's reminding us of our relationship with the power of the universe, which is benevolent. Hallowed be your name. Everything is to be considered holy within the power of the... Hang on a minute, missed my line. Everything is to be considered holy and of that power of the universe. Your kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We can create heaven here on earth through our own thoughts and attitudes. Give us each day our daily bread. Statement of fact, not a demand. We will be provided for. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgiveness is the key to our spiritual growth. And leave us not in temptation and deliver us from error. We will not have to deal with anything that is too much for us at our present level of understanding. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory is self-evident. So, now you've got your head and your heart into that place, you're ready to say, thy will be done, and ask for the outcomes you see as desirable, or something better. Always give God some wriggle room. Don't tie it up too tightly. You're ready for affirmative prayer. This is straight off the Unity website. When most people think of prayer, they think of asking God for something. Not so in Unity. Unity uses affirmative prayer. Rather than begging or beseeching God, this method involves connecting with the Spirit of God within and asserting positive beliefs about the desired outcome. Affirmative prayer is the same method of prayer Jesus taught when he said, So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Mark 11:24. If, for example, one were to pray traditionally, one might say, Please God, help me find a job. By contrast, an affirmative prayer would be, I am now guided to my right and perfect employment. Affirmative prayer reflects the certainty that we are each being led to our highest good, despite any temporary appearances. Metaphysicians believe that thoughts transmit magnetic energy, and this energy attracts other energy of the same frequency. Whether you are conscious of it or not, your thoughts are transmitting energy that is attracting more of the same. When you remain focused on your intentions, you will draw those things into your life. Yes, people, we had to see COVID as a blessing and not to fear it. We who have not been bereaved by it, we who have not had our lives turned upside down by it, well, just a little bit. We who have not had to deal with the dead and the dying, we have to hold the belief that the power of the universe is absolute good and trust that there will be a positive outcome. It may not be what we want, but we have to trust that it is what the universe needs. Now, this is not what you share with the bereaved. Do not tell them that their family member has died for a great universal God. No, 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 no. They need consolation and assurance and to be allowed to grieve as ever. Their spiritual path is theirs alone, and you do not need to drag them along it. They will travel it in their own way, in their own time. I mean, how does that poor nurse who for sure brought COVID home with her ever get past the fact that her darling baby girl died of it while she survived? Pray with her, please, and all the others. She won't be the only one. I don't know. I can only hold the idea that it is possible for her, so she may know peace. What I do know is that given time and faith, some individuals, not all, will recover from the most grievous happenings in their life. So there's your task for the future. Don't worry, pray. Namaste, shalom, bismillah, peace, love and blessings to you all, as always. Thank you, small group of faithful followers, and I know there's many more of you out there. Okay, let's take our offerings in our hands, because at this time we still need to receive those gifts and those tithes and those blessings. So divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have and all that I receive, all that I am and all that I give, and I can't remember it all, and I am grateful. I always add I am grateful at the end. Okay, so join with me and we will finish our little prayer service. I welcome every blessing in a spirit of gratitude and generosity. As I reflect on the many ways my life is blessed, I overflow with gratitude. Realizing God is the source of every creative idea, I am prosperous, I am purposeful, I am thoughtful and kind. All that I can be and all that I can do flows from God. My eyes can see the beautiful potential within me and all around me. By the power of faith, I have inner vision. I can see beyond appearances to the truth. I can perceive the ripened fruit before the first blossom appears on the tree. As I breathe in our prayers, I am filled with faith and I am faithful. So we close this time of prayer. In the hours ahead, let us choose to be anchored in peace, wisdom, life, and faith. Let gratitude be our guide for all we will say and do next. And let us finish with the prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Do we want our address? 2464 Veneman Avenue. There you go. I can't do numbers. Say it. 2467 Veneman Avenue, Modesto, California, 95356. Don't ask the dyslexic to do numbers. Oh, good day, everyone. Thank you.